During this week's reading, starting with chapter 7 of Tabor, something that stood out to me was facilitating oral language development and the different ways that we can do that. The reading mentions activity time, teacher directed activities, child initiated activities, book reading time, snacks and lunch times, outside time and circle time. All of these opportunities have their own unique way of providing children the opportunity to develop that oral language. Specifically with the teacher directed activities, they can do running commentary where we're describing what it's almost like narration, describing what we're doing as we're doing it, so to give them an understanding. Child initiated play has context embedded language, and it allows them the opportunity for free play. Then book reading time. It includes reading time, small group readings, or it's also important to choose books carefully. Maybe be aware of them culturally, be aware of them according to their level of understanding or how you're going to break it down for them. And then I think about more of the free play, such as snack and lunch times, outside play. Those are opportunity for different types of conversations. Like the book provided the example of the broccoli and understanding the difference between cauliflower, fish, taking like every single interaction with the child is an opportunity for oral language development. It's not just when you're behind the desk or in front of the board or behind your curriculum. It's any time that we're verbally communicating, because they want to develop every aspect of language, not just the academic language, but then also the personal language. Another part of the chapter that stood out to me was the literacy development for the second language learners, the different types including target, letter recognition, alphabetic principle, phonological awareness, book and print concepts, vocabulary, and discourse skills. So different types of activities. Then in regards to the extra documents that we had, the language teaching methodologies and approaches, I jotted down a couple of them that were interesting to me. I personally like the audiolingual method because I believe that repetition is a great way to learn anything in general. So I believe that applies for learning language as well. I also liked community language learning. It says that it first establishes in their native language an interpersonal relationship and trust. And I feel like that's key for being able to influence children, is that they trust you and that they have a friendship with you, that they care to put the effort in where otherwise they might not. The natural approach. I had kind of some critiques about the natural approach because although I don't want to push a child into doing anything necessarily, they talk about letting the child speak when they're ready, but it's like, what if they're never ready? What if they feel like they're never ready? Is it fully the responsibility of the teacher to make sure that they're ready? I always feel like it's always a combination of different types of approaches in order to see what works and then what works for each child. And then Suggestopia, although it wasn't backed up by experimental research as effective, I do believe that music does have an influence in the concentration of students, and it can improve their concentration. I don't know, again, like the experimental research says, that it may not necessarily be fully effective, but when I was teaching VPK, I would play classical music during work time, and it was just, the students were really relaxed, and they understood like that music, it was a nonverbal way of kind of like ushering them into the environment of concentration and of working. And if for whatever reason my phone was dead or something, because that's how I play the music, and I couldn't play it for that particular class, the kids would ask me like, we need the music, where's the music? And then the last one I wanted to comment on is a total physical response. I think that that is also another approach that can be effective and should be used. Giving them orders like stand up, put the book on the table, walking to the door. I think that when you attach words to body movement, it improves the muscle memory and then your mental memory. And that's why, for example, people that are able to learn choreography, they know the words and it means something. It's connecting those movements to words like head, shoulders, knees, and toes. Maybe easier to remember if you know the moves. And then I wanted to make a quick comment on Juan's journal. He mentioned that when they had to do the ABC China activity, he wanted them to talk about China, but the girls didn't really like it because I guess they were tired after the first activity, and then also they didn't know a lot about China, so he made this assumption about them because of the bias, I guess, that he had. And so I just think it's so important to monitor our own biases, because it can definitely get in the way of our efficiency, and our influence, our impact in the classroom. We got to understand where we are in order to understand where they are, and then understand where we need to get them to. And that's my summary for the day. Thank you.